Faso, in the rural parts of the Burkina Faso. Yes. Okay, next please. Yeah, so today's presentation is like this. Next please. Yeah, and so the community-led total sanitation, I think in Indonesia also you have this movement, the next one. And with the mitigated goals, not yet. Yeah, the water is more or less achieves the goal, but the sanitation is really the left behind. So seeing the situation worldwide, next please. There is a new trend in the international organizations, and many organizations is moved to the emphasis on sanitation, and the approach in sanitation programs has changing now. Next please. And before that's a sanitation program, there is a subsidy from the project, and the hard from the hard, it means the material provision was done, and the how to do is decided by the government or the international organizations or the NGOs. But now the trend is without the subsidy, and from the hard to the soft, it means not the material provision, but the sensitization, follow-up, and like the presentation of this morning already done. Yeah, and it's not the top-down, not the government, national government decide, but the community has to decide. Yeah. So next, please. Yeah, and so the objective of the community-led total sanitation is the open defecation free, and the strategy is the community to decide how to do. Yeah. Okay. Next, please. And so cells in Burkina Faso. It's the objective. No. Okay. It is a very an ambitious objective: total access to water and sanitation by 2030, and with the three principles: the health, more security, and dignity of the people. This is the objective, the principles. And so the but they said that Burkina Faso is a very poor country. So the adaptation to adopt the principle of the cells is not applicable to Burkina Faso. So they said they have to do with the subsidy, and the subsidy, especially for the vulnerable families. And so pilot project has begun since 2011, and it is implemented since 2014, and from the 16, the pilot project has been begun without subsidy in 2 places only for the moment. And so with the research which is done in the Centre-Est region in Burkina Faso is, this is the Burkina Faso in Africa, Burkina Faso, and in Burkina Faso, Centre-Est region is here. And I did like this with the responsible of the projects, and the toilet situation in that region is the before the cells, almost all are the open defecation, and this is still prevailing. And exceptionally, a few houses with a traditional toilet, but not many houses. It's really exceptional. But the project of the toilet is begun in the 80s with several organizations. And at first it was the Sanplat type, and then in the 2000s, the Ecosan type was introduced. But these projects covered only a part of the villages and not all the parts, so very, very small parts. And the cells is the Sanplat is with the pilot zone, and the Sanplat is since 2014 it is introduced as a project by international organizations and financed by international organizations also. And this the toilet traditional type. This is the snail type. Excuse me. And this is the snail type. So without doors, they can do. We cannot see inside, but inside is like this. And this is the Sanplat toilet, and here is the cover to here. Okay. And so this is the VIP latrines, and with the ventilation. And this is the Ecosan, which it is a little bit higher, and here there is the compost can be moved out from here. And there are, so separation of the feces and urine, and there are two bits. When it is filled, then they will use another one to use the compost. And this is the urine for urine. And so this is from my research, we saw the reactions. And so, which is why I was very surprised, is very, very positive. And especially for the former situation is very bad. So they said that and so the digitalization with agriculture and with the security. Security means not only the snakes and the rape and the risk to be fallen down. And also they use, these are the most I expect. But this is the completely new for me. It is they use the leaves for the meal, especially for the sauce. They use the most several types of the leaves, but they say that they can use the leaves without problem now. So that is the security reason. And this is mentioned by men and women also, and in many villages. And it was a surprise for me. And there is less illness, of course, and cleanness, and the convenience, and especially for the vulnerable people. And there's no shame to receive guests. And the inconveniences are the most inconvenience is the cost, and the doors are very often broken. The half of the toilets, the doors were broken. When I saw in this time, but so I said that how was the snail type, traditional type? Yeah, this is without doors. It would be more convenient, but they said, but no, it is not good. And I think that behind that, perhaps there's the farmers are the proud of their modern type toilet. So this is why I think, And for the Ecosan, there are the steps, so it's not good for the elderly people. And to clean Ecosan type, to clean the body after the use, they cannot use the water. So this is also the added complication. And They said it is a little bit too small. And my findings is that especially for the compost and urine. And when they talk about the compost, they talk this about really very much the enthusiasm in many villages. I was really surprised of their keenness to talk about the compost use. Yeah, and this is not only the men, but also the women. And they said that usually they use the cereals for the cereals, not only the vegetables. And in one place, women has to involve the men for the compost toilet project, because they said that if they don't involve the men will use the compost for their own their cereals field. So the women would like don't like the men do it, so they have to involve the men, and they know very well about the effect of the compost. Yeah, and so they said that it is the economic effects is almost 50,000 CFA per year. And they can manipulate the compost and the urine by themselves and by their own hands. And they said that at first it is a problem, but because they see the cleanness and there is no smell, so after that there is no problem. And also for the compost, and they had, before the project, they are convinced of the compost effect, so they have constructed the toilet using their own money. Yeah, so it was really surprising for me. I saw several toilets like that. And Sanplat is not meant for the compost use. The VIP, double force pits, or the Ecosan is meant for the compost use. But Sanplat is not. But they use the Sanplat also for the compost, and even the traditional toilet also they use for the compost. So it was really surprising for me. And in one village, they said they don't use no more Sanplat because the vacuum car is in this region, there's only one, so the vacuum cannot come. So I think that in this village, they don't know how to use the compost. But in other place, they use as a compost, so they do by themselves. And for the smells, it is very interesting that in several places, they say that there is a problem is the smell. Then another person said always other villages said no, there is no smell. If there is a smell, there is how to use it bad. So there is always very big debate between the villages. So it was interesting. And the place of the toilet also, first the people put the toilet very far from their household. But then when they understand how it is convenient, how it is clean, then they really want it very near in the courtyard. And the open defecation is more difficult now in Burkina Faso because of the climate problem also, and because the shrubs are more and more rare. And many times the people have been brought there to do the toilet, either by bicycles or by motorcycles. Yeah, and so my proposition to this our project is one in Burkina Faso is the compost and the urine have a very good potential for agricultural use. So I propose how to use compost and urine safely and conveniently the VIP with 2 pits or Ecosan is already meant for the compost use, so it's okay. But with the traditional toilet or Sanplat or VIP with 1 pit, is not meant for the compost. So it is not done for that, but the farmers use for the compost. So the security of this use, if it is secured from our project, it will be very good contribution with my understanding. And also with the cells, they have the list of the toilet types of the toilet, and the community have to choose which toilet they will choose. Yeah, but so in addition to the list of the 3 types of toilet, it will be Sanplat, VIP, Ecosan. If our project can propose another type of compost toilet with low cost, easy to use, and to get compost in RIHN and without smell, yeah. And then it will be a very good contribution, not only for Burkina Faso, but also in Western Africa in general. So thank you very much.